This is Cyndy G from My Scrap Chick, and in this video we are putting together the Cupid gnome. So I always start with my pieces laid out to make sure I have everything. And with this guy, the first thing I want to do is I want to work a little with his bow and arrow, because I'm going to add a string to it. I'm going to move my pieces all here, all these loose pieces out of the way, just so I can get an idea where So for that, I'm going to use some trendy twine. I think I'm going to use the strawberry shortcake because it has a few more colors in it instead of the cranberry. The cranberry is the first one I got out. I know there's lots of twines out there. My personal preference is trendy twine. It's not too thick like a lot of the twines that you find, and it's twisted very tight so it stays together even after you cut it, which I find is a big plus. So I'm just paper piecing these pieces to my arrow together so that I can work on my string here for my bow and arrow. I put down my heart in the wrong order, so I'm going to try to peel this off before it gets too dry. Now re-put this back on. The wonderful thing about when we craft is people who receive our gifts never know that we make mistakes when we're making them. Okay, so what I decided I was going to do is I think I'm going to glue this just right under here, so I'm going to let it hang over a little. I thought I had, so I'm just going to glue it there and like that. So I only need this much. I'm going to give myself a little bit of extra to play with, you know, just in case. I'm going to hang these pieces over the edge, and then after it dries, I'm going to trim them off. So as you can see, I'm just using just a few dots of glue. And then I'm just going to set this aside and let it dry before I trim anything. Okay? So again, that's trendy twine, and you can find that at Annie's Paper Boutique. Annie's Paper Boutique. You get these huge rolls. It's 160 yards, so I mean it lasts forever. This one got low enough that I lost the wrapper on it. I'm about ready to lose the wrapper on my cranberry. And I know I've probably had these for a year, at least, probably longer. So 160 yards, it just goes a long way. It's a great deal. They're start on sale at $7, and full price is $9 for the roll of twine. Okay, so now let's take a look at the other pieces we have going on here. I guess I'll go ahead and assemble my gnome. I'm going to use a kind of bluish color here to ink along the edges of this pink. I used this on another card and I liked the blue better than using pink or red on this. Okay. Then on my wings, I'm going to touch the edges here with a light blue. I like using light blue on my white. You could use gray. It doesn't have to be blue. I personally prefer blue. So I'm just going to touch all these pieces. I think I'm going to go ahead and do my clouds since I have the blue out. This cloud that has the real rounded edges in it, this one is the inside piece to this, to the piece that shows up as dark blue. That's for your sentiment on the back of the card. It's optional. If you have a lot to say, you could print the inside liner. You can do that in white and put that on the back. That'll give you the whole back side to write on. So I'm just going to hit every cloud here real quick. I like to get all my inking done so I can just set my pad back out of my way. This is the liner for the inside of the card. But again, if you have a lot to say to the person who's receiving your card, you can print this in white and apply it to the back. Mostly on my patterned paper, I use ink to cut down the white core of the paper. Sometimes I like the look of the real crisp hard lines, but most of the time I like to soften it up a little bit. Okay, so that's done. I can put this away. Now on my flesh pieces here for the gnome, I've got his face, his hands, and his nose. I'm going to use a little bit of pink to rosy him up some. Darn. Okay, so now I'm done with my inking, and I am going to look at my pieces here, make sure I put everything on in the right order. want to tuck his face in, maybe. I don't think I need to. We've had a lot of rain lately, so my hands are really hurting, and it's hard for me to pick up these pieces and keep a hold of them. There we go. Now he has a tiny little heart that just goes here on the tip of his hat, if you want to use it. And his face, you're just gonna fit it to this curve in here. Okay. Then his mustache, you're just gonna kind of fit it to the curve of his face there, the bottom curve. All right. So his mustache is shaped funny because it's designed with the nose right there to fit right on the end, okay? So that's where we're going to put this piece. If you're more comfortable using a pickup tool with these little pieces, by all means get that out. So this wing, I'm just going to kind of curve this up a little. This is the top wing. I don't want to curve this bottom piece that I'm going to actually glue. I'm just going to kind of glue it here. Maybe I like it better there. So there's no really right or wrong place for fitting this wing on. There we go. The same for his shoes. I left those free so you can put them wherever you'd like. There we go. Okay, now let's go back to our bow here. Everything's nice and dry. I'm going to trim these little pieces off just below. And then you've got a cute little bow. So he goes on this insert. Let me get it together. The cloud glues on. So I just want to look at this with so that I'm putting him in a spot that he can be seen. So that's about where I'm going to apply him. And I don't really want his bow covering his face too much. So I think I'm gonna pop him up with some foam squares. This is a card with just one insert, so I'm gonna see if popping up the bow with some foam will work. We have to cut it because this piece is so small. There we go. And then his hands, you're just going to strategically place. So there's our Cupid holding his bow. Okay, now let's work on the rest of the card. Okay, so the panels, make sure that you're putting them on the opposite side that you put your inside panel on. Because there are a few outside panels here, and you just want to line those up here. And then flip it over to put your inside panel on. The cloud that goes here hangs over the edge, so I would suggest putting the glue on this flap itself so that you don't have glue on the bottom part of your cloud where you don't need it. Okay, now let's go ahead and glue these together. Again, this is for the back. These two are for the front. And I think I'm going to pop these up with some foam tape. we go. Let's go ahead and glue this on the back for our sentiment. And then we're going to do our insert. So you want to apply your glue to the tab. We are going to there we are. Now put glue on your other tab. Okay, on this card, the side is over here, so you're just going to push this down like this. Then to close it up, we're going to put glue right here on this tab. Fold it both ways, and there you have your Gnome Cupid. Thank you for joining me.